Alright, Dooners, we're gonna have a little bit more of a free-flowing discussion this time because it all involves Tava Ren, so let's talk about issues 8 and 9. Let's do it! This issue begins with Tava and the Knights of Ren attacking a monastery on the planet Vandor. Vandor is the ice planet from the beginning of Solo. Tava's explaining what the Knights of Ren are all about. Then, more monks attack. She decides to take them head-on while the other knights retreat. She uses a form of Tutaminis, along with a grenade. And she's able to hold her own for a little while, but eventually she's overwhelmed and is forced to jump out a window, and she lands on the hull of the Night Buzzard. Back on the Night Buzzard, Tava gets into it with them about how they're a bunch of cowards, but they retort back with that they are not willing to die for some bad intel. This then leads into the story of why they are acting so cowardly. We now flash back. We see the events of the Rise of Kylo Ren comic. We see Ben Solo defeat Ren and take on the moniker of Kylo Ren and take the leadership of the Knights. And they describe how awesome it is in the beginning, but as they keep going, Kylo keeps getting more and more bloodthirsty, and they keep working with Snoke more and more. So the comic shows the Knights and Kylo doing their thing, taking down warlords, but then the iconography gets all too familiar. And this is where I start having problems. We see the shot from Rey's vision in The Force Awakens. We see the man in the hat get stabbed from behind by Kylo Ren. Cool shot of all the knights standing in the rain, standing behind Kylo Ren as he's standing over this guy. I'm actually excited to see what the story is behind this flashback, because I remember back to that time, we were all speculating, who could this be? What was the point of seeing this in the vision? And maybe this is on me as the reader. You know, I'm wondering, the Force showed her this moment. Maybe this is connecting them in the dyad, or maybe this is helping with their connection more in Rise of Skywalker. But no, he's just a guy. And Kylo Ren just kills him. And then out of nowhere, Snoke just shows up. And I'm like, what? As they're standing there in the rain, Kylo senses something in the shadow. Turns out it's Snoke with his guards and a bunch of stormtroopers. And he tells Kylo Ren that now is the time for him to take his next step in his destiny. And he must leave this rabble behind. Visceral tries to say something about that and eats some Force lightning for his troubles. Snoke then tells Kylo that his time with the Knights has helped explore his new powers, but they're essentially just rats of the Force, and now that chapter needs to close. Kylo asks, should he destroy them? Snoke answers, no. I wouldn't have you sully your blade. We have other weapons. And the stormtroopers open fire on the Knights, and they're forced to retreat. And they claim they've been on the run ever since. This right here, guys, it is said specifically in The Force Awakens that he's the leader of the Knights of Ren. And now this is just changing that. Why do they have to go back and change that kind of stuff? It's that connective tissue. It's so frustrating. I mean, if I'm keeping it 100 with you guys, it drives me nuts. I'll be honest. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I hate, where why are you going back on things that are said in the movies? I also have a love-hate relationship with the Knights because I want them to be cool, but it seems like with all this extra material, it just makes them lamer and lamer. And they're tough to like. They look cool, but they're just lame. After hearing all this, Tava decides that the Knights are done hiding. She's gonna fix them. Aboard the Finalizer, when Kylo sees the Night Buzzard approaching, he does refer to them as friends, which I think is really, really interesting. As she steps off the Night Buzzard, she bows and takes off her helmet and introduces herself. I am Tava Ren, and I am at your service. As Tava bows to Kylo, he asks her, are you a Knight of Ren? He then activates his lightsaber and attacks her. She dives back, activating her lightsaber, and says, this is one way to get to know each other. As they're fighting each other, she asks him, don't you want to know why I'm even here? And he answers coldly, not at all. As they're fighting, a bunch of stormtroopers line up and begin to aim at her. He immediately force pushes all of them back, screaming, leave her to me. Tava Ren looks at his handiwork and says, wow, this must be the most fun you've had in ages. Kylo then flashbacks to Rey and him fighting the Praetorian guards, and he coldly says, enough. As they trade blows, Tava asks Kylo, if he doesn't care about the Knights, then why does he carry the name Ren? She explains that they're in awe and terrified of him, but she just doesn't see it. He force pushes her back and grabs her saber with his and goes to behead her and asks, do you see it now? and she exclaims, "Wait, before you do this, remember, I'm the only one that can talk about the secrets of the shadow with you." Kylo hesitates and tells her not to forget how easy this was for him. She smiles back at him and tells him she doesn't think that she'll ever be able to forget about him. Then asks, "Do you have anything to eat on this ship?" At dinner, they discuss how Tava is actually now Tava Ren, since she is now leading the Knights of Ren. Kylo's surprised that the Knights are actually still alive, and she explains that Kylo treated them like garbage, but she treats them like a prize. We have a flashback. Since the Knights had been kicked out of the First Order, they started working for a gentleman named Vader. At the same time, she was also working for him. She heard them speaking about the shadow, and she decided to stay close to them, but didn't say anything for fear they might kill her. Eventually, the Knights screw up, and they're thrown into prison by Badat. Tava tells them that she'll free them, but in return, she wants to join the ranks, and they say, "Sure, but they're in need of a good death." So in return, Tava kills Badat and all of his men, and she becomes their leader. Kylo then asks, "So, when you came here, you said you were in my service. How are you going to serve me?" She answers, "Oh, that was a lie. I was planning on destroying you. I was going to find my way into your good graces, then pick my moment." Kylo then stops and asks, "Do you really think that's going to work?" She answers, "Please, you're fascinated with me. I would have killed you, eventually, whether you believe me or not. Then I would have returned to the other Knights of Ren with a very good death. More importantly, we've touched through the shadow. I know you in a way that only people like us know each other." Kylo then asks, "Oh, well, who am I then?" "You want freedom," she explains, "and the Knights of Ren are that. Instead, you've locked yourself into a cage. I know you've been looking for something. In the First Order, they're not going to be able to help you find that something. You want something, or someone else. It rings out, and I want to know who you want to be. Is this it?" Guys, she kisses him. She kissed him. And what's our boy do? That's right. He tells everyone on the Finalizer to blast her on sight. After doing so, he turns and looks at her and says, "That's who I am. That's who I want to be." She force pulls her lightsaber to herself and says, "I'm not wrong. Everything I said about you is true," and then runs off. As she's making her way back to the Night Buzzard, she's intercepted by a bunch of stormtroopers. And she's holding her own. She's doing a fair job, but she accidentally ricochets one of the blaster bolts into a fuel cell, and she's caught into the explosion. She's able to make it back to the hangar, where there are a ton of troops waiting for her, and they're all posted up right in front of the Night Buzzard. The FN commander then says, "All right, everyone, fire all at once. I want nothing left." She then closes her eyes and says to herself, "All right, Tava, for the shadow, for the Ren," and then reaches out with the Force and pulls the Night Buzzard to her, dragging it across all the troopers, and she's able to jump aboard. As the Night Buzzard is leaving, Hux tells Kylo that all he has to do is give the command, and they can reduce it to atoms. Kylo doesn't say a word. Hux then says, "Supreme Leader, if we don't act now." A deck officer speaks up and says enemy ship has entered hyperspace. Target lost. So there you have it, Dooners. Our boy had a chance at love, and what's he do? He panics. I'm just kidding. Overall, I did like this little 2-issue arc, but it does feel a little disjointed because we haven't seen Vanina in a while. I have no idea what he's doing. I also really don't know how I feel of the Knights of Ren just being the loser Force users of the Star Wars universe. I just don't. I'm still lost with that flashback with Snoke. Also, why does touching Luke Skywalker's lightsaber show that moment from The Force Awakens? It just feels really wasted to me, if I'm being real. I like the concept of Tava though. I'm a sucker for that femme fatale, forbidden fruit character for our protagonist. I like the idea of Batman with Talia, or Spider-Man with Black Cat, but I don't want them to settle down with them. I thought for sure she was gonna die, but maybe we have another Dr. Aphra on our hands. We could build out this character with her own series. Granted, we know that the Knights are back with Kylo by Rise of Skywalker, so I think she's got to return in some fashion before it's all said and done. Alright, Dooners, thank you for joining me for the Legend of Tava Ren. If you like this kind of content, please let me know in the comments below, and please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.